You weren't such a drag as I thought you would be. Nice. Hi everyone, this is Triple T, and today I'm taking a look at FansToys FT-31D Smokey. And he's really smoking. I know I'm late to the party with this one, and I had to buy him on the aftermarket, so I had to pay $300 US for this, and that was not really fun. And I still lack the leg bots and motor master, of course, so this is going to be a very expensive combiner if FansToys don't re-release this set soon. But let's start with the box, and as always, this lovely illustration. As you can see here, very, very nice indeed. And you have the little driver in there. And here you have the back of the box. And you have the bio if you want to read it. And on the side, Smokey. And of course the alt mode there. And the alt mode is underneath as well. He comes with a very nicely done manual. It is a bit old. They do better things now, but still, you can follow it, and it actually works. Even though I tend to forget to flip these out. Those little ears that he has. Little ears, poo. But that is it for the manual. He comes with a collector's card. Very nice indeed. As I always say. As you can see, it's a very old bot. He's 6 years old now, this year. And again, with the stats and everything that you need to know if you can read what it says over there. But still, very nice. I'm always surprised that they translate this, but not these labels. I don't know, it just feels strange. But that's it for the collector's card. He comes with two identical purpley, I would say, rifles, because they have a sight on them. So, yeah, they do look good. They are not as sparkly as later renditions of FansToys releases, but still, they look good from both sides and from the top and everything, so I'm happy with them. And there is, of course, storage in every mode, which is very pleasing to me. He comes with a little driver that you can put in the driving seat, clonk. And he looks kind of cool. I don't know if I'm going to have him in or not, because, well, he is probably just going to be an arm for the rest of his life. So, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And he comes with an alternate face. This face here, which I'm trying to show you now, is the one that comes installed. And the one he has now is a smirking one. You can see he's smirking at you. Smirky smirk. So you can change those out fairly simple. Don't you do like me and forget to take the hat off, because you take the hat off first, then you change out the face, or you will break something. But look at the paint on that visor. It is just sublime. Very, very nice indeed. And now we come to the bot of the hour. The Smokey, or Dragstrip, as we have come to know him. And for the first time ever, I have a little paint scrapage on a FansToys. That's never happened before to me. Yeah. But I don't really care. And he is 6 years old, so he's feeling his age, maybe. I don't know, really. But let's get up close and personal. Look at that head, and that beautiful paint, and that shining little helmet, and of course, that smirk. That smirk is just so reminiscent of his personality, so I couldn't really do anything else than have the smirk on, of course. You have beautiful wheels. That is chromed inside and rubber on the outside. Very, very nice. You can see the front spoiler, or I don't know what it's called, that is going in front of the car here on the side. So he is a bit on the wide side here. I take a bit of a gripe with that, but I think I'm okay since I'm going to have him in ARM mode. You have a very nice chromed out engine here, and the engine block is in the middle of the chest, or the upper body, instead of up here like it is on DX9s. So we'll just have to compare those later on. And very matte yellow on the rest of the bot. I mean, it's not like the newer releases when everything just shines. This is more plastic, yellow, and very, very matte, but still, it does the job. And as you can see, those little toesies have a different, it's more of an orange, right? On the back, you can see some detailing for the alt mode, of course, very nicely painted, and I haven't pushed that in. Yeah, it looks a very, very nice, very clean bot, as you can see, not any kibble to talk about whatsoever. The only kibble he has, if you want to find kibble, are these, and that you can see stuff here. But, I mean, this is actually cartoon accurate, so I don't really mind. He looks proper dandy to me in my eyes, and I do like this one. I tend to not like Dragstrip. He's the most boring bot of the bunch, but this one actually took me by storm because I like him. He is so filled with personality. It's strange how you can find personality in plastic, but this one really has it. So I'm really, really happy with that. But you do feel the age of the bot somewhat, and I don't really know what to tell you, but he's good enough. He's good enough. So I'll show you as we go along. Let's start with the head. He can look down, he can look up, and he can fold in his ears. Due to the fact that this little face crashes into this hinge here, you have to be very careful rotating the head around, but you can. It is perfectly doable, like that. His arms goes out to the side, and if you actually use those transformational hinges there, you can get it a bit more up, but if you do it for too long, it'll just bump into the head. So that is maybe the highest point you can get it into. Friction all the way around. You have a friction hinge in the bicep, and you have a 90 degree at the elbow there. You can rotate these up if you want to. I haven't decided which I like more, this up or this down. I know this is cartoon accurate, but still. The hands are very plasticky, but they work. The thumb is on a ball joint, and the fingies are on a peg there and a peg in the middle, so you can actually do posing with them. Very, very nice. I'm going to fold them up because in preparation of the transformation later. You have a waist rotation, nothing at the ab crunching department. Not that I can find anyway. So that's one place he really shows his age. If you get his little skirt piece forward, he can kick forward 90 degrees, back about the same, a bit higher actually, and to the side, and everything is friction here. So I think he can actually do the motor master splits. Yes, he can. Bonk. You have a bit of a thigh rotation. You have a very nice 90 degree at the knee, and the feet can tilt in, not that much up or down. And this one happens to be quite loose. And I thought I could actually just screw it on better, but no, there is no screw here. Well, it is probably a screw, but I'm not able to reach it for some reason. So, yeah, but I don't mind that little foot. It works just dandy anyway, and now I have flipped that ear in. And of course, he can hold his little guns. Not that sturdy, to be quite frank. He can lose them if he isn't really standing still. Let's see if I can actually peg that in. You have to have the thumb down and out so you can actually get to that peg, or that port rather, like that. Yeah. This isn't on par with FansToys' usual stuff, so pegging this in you have to hold everything just like that and then peg it in when it's like that. But if you move him about too much, he will lose the gun. He can, of course, hold it with both hands. I'm not going to fold those hands together. I'm just going to put this in, if I'm able to. And that is him dual-wielding his beautiful guns there. Or rifle-y stuff. I don't know. But let's get rid of them for now, because we're going into comparison, and we're going to compare him with, I would say, his big rival. I don't know if he is anymore because it's a very old bot, but so is he, and that's DX9's Dragstrip. Yes, he's called Dragstrip. So here you have Smokey and Dragstrip, and well, both renditions of Dragstrip, of course. And you can see, I always thought this was kind of nice. It worked. I mean, as I said before, this isn't my favorite character of the Stunticon set, so I didn't really care. Until I got him, because now I can actually see what Dragstrip really should look like. I mean, yes, he's a bit on the wide side of on the back there, but I mean, look at the arms, look at the chest, look at the legs. I mean, this is just abhorrently not as good as that. It's not bad at all. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that it's not as good as Smokey. So I'm happy that I'm going to upgrade to the FansToys versions, even though it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. Literally. No, not literally. Hopefully not. But yeah. And now, for the next comparison, let's bring in a modern FansToys combiner bot. And we have Scrapper here, looking very, very nice and very large compared to him. I know this isn't an all-in-one, but it's sort of, because everything just fits on him if you need it. So maybe that is why he's bigger. Or in this case, you have those parts that actually make the Menasor, and this is just decoration. So maybe that is why they're different in size. I don't really know. I like them both, to be quite frank. Even though he is a bit bulky. I'm going to try, I think, to buy the X-Transbots versions to keep in bot mode, because they look really, really good. But anyway, you can see how the engineering at FansToys have evolved through the years, both in a good way and maybe in a bad way. But maybe this is just a bad example of a combiner, I don't know. I'm not going to strip my Superion to bits just to contradict myself, so I'm going to be happy with this, and I hope you are too. Yoink! And here you have Smokey in his alt mode, and it is a glorious alt mode. I don't know if you can see, but there are different shades of yellow, as should be. Very, very nice. Nothing really sticks out, and I like that. It looks cohesive, it looks very beautiful indeed, and it rolls like a champion, and it could be a leg like that, with a big foot. But this just looks amazing to me. You have those big, thick wheels here, chromed inside. You have that nice engine, very beautifully done in chrome, and that steering wheel, which I'm a bit scared will break if I force this back in without folding it out correctly. But why would I? So the only thing I can find gripes about is that this die-cast piece is a bit darker yellow. It could have done with one more layer of paint, I think. But otherwise, this just looks amazing. This is the top. This is the bottom, and you don't see any face anywhere. And that is good, peoples. These feet are just horrible to angle correctly, but you don't really care how they look, actually. But you need to fold these down if you want to have that effect going. And this is him from the back, and this is him from the front. And if you want to put this little driver in, you can. There are two hidden, I would say, ports here and ports there. No, ports here and tabs there, tabs here and ports in here. So to get this in, you actually have to use force. That's quite brutal, like that. But now he's in. Now he sits there, driving Dragstrip to victory. I don't know if he sees anything because he's way down there, but he's holding on to that wheel for dear life. 10 and 2, 10 and 2. And yeah, that looks really, really nice. If you want to, you can, of course, put the guns in here. And you have a little spot there for the guns. And you have a little peg there that's going into that little port there. So... And, of course, these little niches are going to be held by the tab that goes into the hand. So, like that. And now he's all armored up and ready to take on Superion or the aerial bots or whatever. In his beautiful alt mode. Now, for comparison, I'm going to take these off because that's not... they are quite tricky to get off, actually. I don't want to break anything either. And let's just get him off, shall we, too? So we have a fair comparison here. Here you have DX9's Dragstrip. And yes, he's painted in gold, and that looks just fine and nice, and everything you can say about that. And he is a bit longer than Smokey. Way lighter, I can tell you, because this has a lot of die cast and this is just plastic. Which one you prefer is, it's a matter of opinion, I think. I do like this because this looks so clean and beautiful and everything rolls. This rolls as well, but not as... yeah, something is actually... Yeah, I think this connector tab, actually... Combiner tab, sorry, actually hits the... Yeah, it hits the ground there. And of course you have that visible head syndrome, which isn't really nice. No, you can't turn that around because then you scrape the face. So, I don't really know what they were thinking there. So there you can see the difference. Maybe I should just do it like that, so they look the same. They both look fairly good. But still, I do prefer the FansToys version, and surprise, surprise, no one's surprised at all. So, yeah. I do like the DX9 though, but this piece just... it doesn't really look good to me, unfortunately. And here he is with X-Transpot's Fuzz. So you can see how he scales with other combiners. And... I mean, this piece is in front, I think. But otherwise, he is the same. Even though the perspective of my camera is just shite right now. So, he is the expected size, if you catch my drift. Don't droop. You're not sad. You're owned by me. Anyway, they are about the same weight, actually, which is kind of strange. But, yeah. Both of them rolls like a champ, so I can't fault anyone there. Boom. The last step before my conclusion is, of course, getting him into arm mode and looking at that. I'll be right back. And if you want to see how you do that, go and watch the transformational video I will post side by side with this one. And here you have the arm mode. I mean, it looks a bit strange because this just falls off and you have a big hole in the middle. But this hole will be filled. Oh, that sounded so strange. Sorry. This vacuum will be filled by the port that is on the body of Menasor, so it will be very firmly on there, and it does work very nicely. You have a very short lower piece of arm here, and since this leg is untabbed, you can see the tab there, it can actually move dandy. And don't be afraid that these pieces will break, because this is the one taking the brunt of the damage, and that is really, really well done. So don't be scared about that. The hands are really, really nice. You can, of course, rotate them on that little ratcheted thing. You can push them to the side, and the thumb is on this big hinge there, and you have a little joint there and there, so you can actually pose it really well. And on the fingies, you have a hinge there, so you can splay them out. You also have a hinge here, so you can fold them in. And then you have two hinges out here that you can actually just bend to make a fist, for instance, or holding a gun or a sword or whatever you wish. What I like about them is that every finger isn't as long as the other one. So this looks actually really natural. Well, for a human, that is. But still, very, very nice. I'm really happy about this combiner. I mean, fairly nice fist. And there is nothing really, except for this, but if you secure that in place, there is nothing really loose here or anything that feels in danger of breaking or anything at all. This feels really, really good. One of the best arms I've ever had, especially on Menasor. I'm not going to show that now. I'm going to show that when I have all the pieces, and that may take a while. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not going to show that right now. But that is it for the armor mode. And now for my conclusion. This is an outstanding bot, especially when you think about that the age of him. I mean, he's 6 years old by now, and he is still holding strong. I do have some paint scrapages here and there, and I never had that before on FansToys, so I'm blaming the age of him. But otherwise, this is just a perfect rendition of Dragstrip, and I love him for it. I wish his mobility or articulation could be a bit better, like an ab crunch and tilting of the foot front and back and so on. But it's not a deal breaker in any way. Do I wish the plastic were a bit more shining? Yes, that would be nice too. But he does what he does very, very good, and I'm happy with it, and I don't really mind things that isn't the way I would have expected it to be if he was launched today. So I'm still very, very happy with him. And now I just have to buy the other bots in the set. And I checked the prices at current. Each leg bot is about $300 and the Motormaster is about $450. So if anyone knows where you can get this set for cheaper without being a knockoff, I would be really, really happy if you told me. His Masterpiece score is an 8, and that is extremely high for a Dragstrip, in my opinion. But he is that good. I mean, FansToys is FansToys, and they do good stuff. Even if they bot block some companies, they still do just amazing things. So this is a strong recommendation from me. If you don't have it and you want to pay a $300 price tag, go ahead. I'm not sorry I did. But I guess that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care.